And we're here live on rivercountrysports.com. Thanks for tuning in and joining us for tonight's Coaches Show. We're here with Coach Tim Clark of the Brantford Buccaneers. Thanks for joining us tonight, Coach Clark.
Glad to be here.
Hey, so halfway through the season, just played Game 5. I mean, we went on the road and played Lake Weir down bottom side of Ocala. Tell us a little bit about how that game went.
Was very pleased with how the game turned out. Obviously, winning by a fairly large margin. But more than that, it was the cleanliness in our execution. We were consistent moving the football, and until the very end of the game, did a really good job of stopping them defensively. We played clean without a turnover. Um, I just thought it was a great night. Especially long road trip. Longest one of the year, unfamiliar opponent.
Right.
It's their homecoming. They had quite a bit of size and length on the perimeter. I mean, they're a big football team,
Oh yeah.
and thought we established the front on both sides of the ball very well early in the football game, and then said may just stayed very positive on offense in terms of our production. So
Right, for sure. Big win, 38-6 it was. I mean, you only allowed them one score, and then they went for the 2-point conversion, but wasn't able to convert there. But we went in and we were looking. I mean, stuff we seen on scouting ahead of time. We did see a lot of size out of their team, and we thought that would play a big factor in the game. But like honestly, like you said, it really didn't. I mean, we were able to pretty much dominate wherever we were on the field. Don't you agree?
right, yeah, we looked at their film from previous games this season and through the scouting reports. We felt like we had done a pretty good job of identifying, areas where we thought there was some bubbles in the defensive line that we could run at. And so we stayed consistent with trying to attack those areas and wear them down, stay away from those guys that we just did not physically have matchup ability on. Um, they had a left tackle who was just enormous, and truly just a giant. Left guard was big too, and so they favored that side of the offensive line. So we set up to mitigate that a little bit, and then offensively, when those dudes are in defensive line, we try to run away from them and pick our battles in terms of who we tried to move, who we tried to, you know, trap, who we tried to kick, all that kind of stuff. So I thought we did a really good job up front, until I guess it was right before the half. We lined up and still didn't really get a good explanation for it. We had they threw a flag on Reese for aligning in the neutral. I mean, it was an odd penalty because we didn't snap the ball. I mean, it was before he didn't give the receiver an opportunity to step back. But anyway, outside of that, that was our only offensive penalty of the first half,
Right.
and we did not have um, a live ball offensive penalty for the football game.
That's big.
So that was big, and we emphasized that obviously coming out of Oak Hall, with that crew that we had there that was, really, very particular about, those motion those motion penalties and just the minute details of all the alignments and things like that. I mean, we harped on that in practice this week, and so I think really focusing in on those tiny details of it cleaned everything up just a little bit.
For sure.
And then just keeping it simple. We found stuff that worked offensively, and we ran the football downhill on them and didn't really get fancy in the first half. Took what they gave us in the passing game, and like I said, just it was all positive plays pretty much for the first half. In the second half, we dropped one snap we had to fall on that was a negative play, and then we threw one quick, I think that was a negative play. In the first half, we had one jet sweep that I think was a -1, but other than that, I mean, it was all positive plays for the night. Um, I just thought it was really good.
Right. Yeah. So we seen, like you mentioned, the penalties, not a lot on the Brantford side, but it seemed like just about every time that the Hurricanes would get a big play in there, whether that was in the air or running the ball, they'd have a penalty that would bring it back. I mean, it was like time after time again, they couldn't get themselves started because of penalties that were backing them up.
Right. Yeah, they found themselves in quite a bit of behind the chain scenarios with first and longs even, and some second longs for sure, and ultimately with the way that we played, that generated a lot of third and long situations. And based on scouting, we kind of knew where they would want to go, third and long, get them into those sets where they needed and would try to throw the football in there. They weren't very high percentage completion team coming into it.
Right.
and we felt like we could cover them pretty well with the plan that we had in place. Certainly, they had, number 13 on the outside, number 6 on the other side. Those were really tall dudes, and seeing them on field, they were bigger than we thought too. They were just kind of well put together. So we zoned over the top of those guys quite a bit. So they caught a couple balls on us underneath, and we
Yeah.
rallied and made the tackle, but we didn't let them behind us, and that was the main mission of the night.
Right. Yeah, so we seen kind of out of their offense, they kept I know it was like right after the first play of the game, their starting quarterback went down. So they had to put their backup quarterback in, but we talked about them having two different styles of quarterbacks, one that ran a little bit more and one that took to the air with the ball a little bit more. But I mean, like that switching back and forth of quarterbacks, I mean, they were every couple of plays switching out their quarterback. Do you think that kind of prevented them from catching a momentum and kind of getting things started on the offense side of the ball?
Well, I'm not really sure. They were 3-1 coming into the game. So they've had success, and through those 3 wins, pretty solid wins. So um, what they've been doing has been working for them. They've been switching those guys in and out. We really didn't know who would start against us, whether it was going to be number 5 or number was it 12?
Well,
Yeah, number 12. So 12 started the game, and he's kind of their tough inside runner guy. They'll throw the deep ball with number 5, and he'll run a little bit to the outside when they run stretch and Q sweep and stuff. So we knew we would see both of those guys, and we had different checks in the and different plans in the defensive scheme to, you know, kind of focus in on what we expected based on who was at quarterback.
right,
So I thought the kids executed that pretty well. They recognized when they switched him out. They recognized also when they put 22 at the quarterback and essentially wildcat and just direct snapped it to him. We knew that was run every time.
right,
And so they trusted their keys and had great eye control, tackled well. Thought we pursued really well. And with a team that big, I thought that we established very early that we were going to be the more physical team.
right.
Um, and uh, and I think that went a long way to setting the tone for the football game.
Yes, I mean you had a lot of I mean it's really came down to preparation almost because you were able to point out what they were going to do in each style of offense that they were running and in each setup they came out in. I mean just knowing exactly what to do really prevented them, you think, from being able to move the ball.
Yeah, well, certainly we tell the kids we don't have a contract with anybody.
Right,
They can run whatever they want to run, but we do put a premium on scouting through the games that they've already played this season and generating a tendency report on them and trying to figure out what they like to do in certain situations and who they tend to rely on when you get a third and long situation, right? When they need to convert, what are they going to try to do? And then you find the patterns within formations that um, you know, do they tend to go towards a certain player more, right? Directional left and right, based on
yeah.
down and distance. So we find all those little things, just anything we can give the kids that they can try to process and absorb so that hopefully on Friday night they see something, they recognize it and maybe can react just a step quicker because they feel like they know what's coming.
Oh yeah, that's big for sure. So we've seen, I mean, a lot of downhill running out of your quarterback, and I mean that quarterback Trent Land, I mean, not scared to step out of bounds, and that almost scared us one time. When he, yeah, yeah, he got his legs taken out from under him, and him and the defender were both on the ground for a minute. That scared us, but he turned out all right. He's good. He was good after that, you'd say.
Yeah, yeah, he just got a helmet to the shin there. He had a pretty good bruise, but I think he's going to be okay.
Yeah, yeah, for sure. That's big. But I mean, he was running all over the place. I mean, I'd say probably over 50% of the time he probably had the ball. Wouldn't you agree?
He had 18 carries, 113, something like that. 3 touchdowns on the ground. So yeah, he had a very productive night. We again just kind of with the offense that we run, we take what people give us, and they were giving us the box that we wanted, knowing that if we ran the quarterback, we had +1. So they didn't have enough people in the box to stop us if we ran the quarterback. And we fitted blocks. So that's just kind of what you have to do, right? And we still were very effective running the ball with Ollie until he got dinged up again. Run it with TC. Tripp had a couple really productive runs in there. So we were productive in the running game, period, right? I mean, we didn't punt the ball till late in the game. Um, but uh, but certainly he's a weapon with what he can do in the air. But he's a big, strong kid that will run behind the pads, run physical, and he's pretty durable too.
Oh yeah, he was definitely moving the ball and doing it in a productive way. So we seen a lot of production. I mean, putting 38 points up on the offensive side of the ball, but right there at the end, so we seen kicker David Lopez have to go out exit the game, and then your what is he a freshman? Your
He's a sophomore.
sophomore
JC's a sophomore. Yeah.
JC. So he was a big help in Friday night's game as well. You'd say.
Yeah, 5 for 5 on extra points and a 32-yard field goal. Field
Yeah.
goal.
Yeah,
Yep.
that was big. I mean, what was your kind of thought process there at the end of the game? I mean, you're up 35-6, and then you decide right there at the end of the game with not much time left to go and try and kick a field goal. Were you just stretching him out or seeing what he could do or what?
Yeah, I mean he's a kid that has never played football before until a couple months ago. Um, Came here from St. Francis and had played some soccer, and I said, "Man, have you ever tried to kick an American football?" Right? So
Right.
he said no, but I could try, and that's kind of led to where we're at now. And he loves it, and he's there every day, and he works. But he's only ever kicked an extra point, and he's gotten now to where he's very consistent with it. He was 5 for 5 the other night
He
on extra
was, yeah.
points, and we rep it in practice, and we don't get many opportunities like that in the game. So in terms of certainly wanting to be respectful for them, that's why I ran the clock all the way down. Use that timeout to make sure it was the last play of the game. Right? I
Right.
mean, I didn't just let that clock run down. We're not trying to drag this thing out. Um, but certainly that was the thought process there is that we're not, we weren't going to try to get the ball in the end zone again. We were running up
Yeah.
the middle and the game was going to be over. And then as we got closer and closer, thought, this might be a great opportunity to line up and try to execute an in-game live field goal situation, which we have not done, as a unit, and then certainly as JC with JC as our kicker.
Right.
Um, so you never know what football game coming down the pipe, might be you know, swung by a field goal. That might be a rep that we have to execute in a high pressure situation when the game is close. And so I thought that was just a great opportunity to get a live rep of field goal. So that's why we did that. Made sure it was the last play of the game. Not to drag anything out. And we were excited. I mean, you
Oh
saw
yeah.
you saw
Yeah.
the reaction on the
Everybody
sideline.
was
Everybody,
everybody was excited for
yeah,
sure.
everybody loves JC. He's a great kid. He's respectful. He's quiet and just goes to work and kicks the ball all day. And so I was just really happy to see him have that moment because that's a legitimate kick. 32 yards is no gimme,
Oh
right?
yeah,
So
for sure.
it's really
Especially in
good.
high school. I mean,
Mhm.
you don't see a whole lot of field goal tries, especially at this level of play. But just knowing you have that kind of in your back pocket is big because if you're down to the line, down to the wire, and you're in a close game, I mean, trying that out might be something now you're a little more comfortable with
Yeah,
and
absolutely.
than beforehand.
Mhm.
Yeah, so we're gonna take a quick break, but we'll be right back here live on rivercountrysports.com.
You were there at the beginning. You stood behind me, guiding me through good times and bad, teaching me lessons I wouldn't appreciate until later, preparing me for the day when you couldn't be here. What you've given me, I'll carry wherever I go. And because of your planning, I know I'll go far.
Set your family up for life. Southern Farm Bureau Life Insurance. Your friends for life.
What's up, guys? Welcome to Van Carpet One. For 78 years, we've been your local family-owned and operated floor covering store, and we can't wait to serve you. Let's go check out some of the stuff we've got and say hey to the guys.
Hey guys, this is Michael Van here at Van Carpet One. Wanted to show you our huge display of carpet. Got about 1,000 rolls for you that we can order. We also keep about 100 in stock that are on clearance, so please come down and give us a visit. We appreciate it.
Come in and see the largest tile collection in North Florida. Van Carpet One has every tile you could possibly imagine. If you can't find it here, they don't make it. Guys, take a look at this. This is just some of our options in waterproof vinyl plank where we have the largest selection anywhere around here, including over 70 pallets in stock, ready to go right now. Come in and see our fantastic selection of elegant hardwood too, followed up by fantastic service that you expect from a company like Van Carpet One.
Come on in and see us.
We can't wait to serve you. And that's a boom shakalaka.
And we're back here live on River Country Sports for tonight's Coach's Show. Today is Tuesday, the 23rd. We want to thank you again for joining us here tonight. We're here with Coach Clark. We kind of went over the beginning of the game and kind of through the whole time. Big win over Lake Weir there in Ocala, 38-6. We've seen a lot of production of the offensive side of the ball, Coach. But what do we see? What do we see that really worked on the defensive side of the ball? Because coming into the game, we lined up as we spoke about a lot bigger team really than Brantford was, but didn't really let that affect us. We kind of put our nose on the ground and got after it. I mean, that athleticism that we seen out of their guys and things that they were able to do and capable of doing. I mean, what would you have to do for your defense to prepare them to play a bigger size team like that?
Well, our defensive line coach Jerry Cooker, he does a good job with them at practice of using technique, using leverage, low man wins, and then up front, we try to attack gaps and not put our guys in too many situations where they just have to one on one beat somebody, right?
Right,
So we mix up alignments. We'll slant every now and then, and we teach them like if you can occupy some of those blocks, that's the life of a defensive lineman primarily, and our linebackers are going to be free to make plays, and that's kind of how it was the other night. Also, Trip Schultz had a really big night again. And he was somewhere in the 6 solos, 3 or 4 assists, something like
right,
that. Kind of nights he's been having. It was another one of those. TC flew around and made some big plays, defensively too. So the safeties were involved Friday night, made some big plays. And I thought we set the edge pretty well too. We knew they
right.
were going to come in and run sweep. They were going to get 2 by 2 and run jet. And I thought we stretched it sideline to sideline pretty well, and then filled from the inside. Did a decent job there. So, yeah, I mean, really, in terms of preparing for them and knowing they had size, it wasn't really anything that we changed. It was just okay. Your technique is going to matter just a little bit more this week, and placement, all that stuff. So,
Right.
I thought we did a really good job.
For sure. Yeah, so speaking of size, so you would consider yourself a musical guy yourself, right? I
hmm
mean, singing and playing several different instruments. I mean, what'd you kind of think about their band the other night? Because they had a lot of size to them as well.
Their band was legit, and when you say size, I think you're meaning differently than you were evaluating their football team.
Right. Size,
Quantity,
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 yeah,
yes,
yeah.
yeah,
Size and
quantity.
numbers.
Numbers,
Yeah,
yes, numbers. Yeah, their band. I was watching back through film, and their band had like 80 something people in it. It
yeah.
was it was
Their
really
band
good.
was bigger than their football team.
It was impressive. It
Yeah,
really was, and the flag twirling
yeah.
was impressive.
That was, yeah, no.
Mhm.
You could tell they put a lot of work into it because it's not easy. I mean, it was definitely one of the better bands that I've seen in my time around high school football for sure. So shifting a little bit onto this week's game, we're taking on Hilliard right at home. This week is homecoming, so Hilliard a familiar opponent with for Brantford. I mean, we seen their head coach over there, Matt Yancey. Actually moved from Brantford to go over there and be the head coach over there. So very familiar with them, playing them last year and able to beat them over there on their own turf. But I mean, this week is homecoming, so there's a lot of festivities going on, a lot of things that's taking place during the week. What are you having to do to really block out all of that in your players' mind and keep them focused on the game this Friday?
It's just constant reminders, that our process and our formula for getting ready for a Friday night doesn't change, even if it's homecoming week. So, told him at the end of practice today, it doesn't matter whether we're going 2 hours south and playing Lake Weir, or we're going right over there and going through the gate and playing in our home stadium. Our process of getting ready on a Friday night is, install Monday, rep it Tuesday, hit everything on Wednesday, full speed run through on Thursday, and then lock in all day Friday and go play for 4 quarters. So, that's been our reminders to him this week, is that nothing changes in terms of what goes into our 4 quarters of great football Friday night. And at the end of the week, that's really all that matters. Homecoming is a fantastic week. It's great for the school. It's great for the community. Love for the boys to be able to experience that, right? But at the end of the night, and certainly at the end of that week, we're kind of the culminating experience of homecoming week.
Right.
We have to play 4 great quarters of football.
Oh yeah.
And cert
That's what the whole week comes down to.
Right, right. It's what it comes down to, and certainly, the you hate to use the word distractions, because they're not all negative distractions. They
Right.
just are, right? They're just there, so they can be positive, they can be neutral, they can be, but we just have a lot going on. So whether it's the dress up days or the Big Blue Raid tomorrow night, we have a JV football game Thursday, which we haven't had in a couple of years during homecoming week because our homecoming has just fallen later where it is in the schedule. And this year it's a little bit earlier. And then certainly the parade Friday, early release, different pregame schedule and
Right.
procedure just because of the early release and things like that. So it's just going to be about minimizing when I say distractions, just the changes in normal
Yeah.
for homecoming week, and understanding that our process and our formula from Monday through Thursday doesn't change, and we have to hit all of those benchmarks the same to be able to play well Friday night.
Yeah, so you mentioned tomorrow night. Tomorrow night is a big production put on by a lot of the Brantford High School staff and students. It's the Big Blue Raid. Tell us why that's so important to Brantford.
It's a tradition that's been going on for a long time. And it's opportunity for the cheerleaders, other clubs to be recognized, other students around campus to be involved in something that the whole community comes out for and they fill the stadium for, and for the certainly for the homecoming court to be recognized there as well. And they do skits, and they do different performances, and so it's a great night for parents and the community and all that brings that positive to homecoming week. It's kind of the outside of the football game, maybe the parade. It's the large,
Big highlight
it's
of
the
the week.
big large event of the week,
Right.
and so it's something that has been a big production at Brantford for a long time, and it's going to continue to be. So I tell our boys, look, it's something we need to go to and we need to enjoy. We need to be respectful, but at the same time, just keep thinking about our job, right? Keep
Right.
thinking about our job, and it's on a Wednesday night this year because of that JV football game on Thursday. A lot of years it's been on a Thursday, and that creates a little bit more challenge for our guys sometimes that night before the game,
Yeah.
just having something a little different in the schedule. But they've done a good job with it, in years past, and I think this group is a group that can lock in through this homecoming week and keep their eyes on the ultimate goal, which is playing well for 4 quarters.
Right. And yeah, your team actually sits there on the field, don't they?
They do.
Yeah,
Yep.
so what time does that start tomorrow night?
7 p.m.
So if you're free tomorrow night at 7 p.m., go join them there in Brantford at the high school stadium there, and you can watch the Big Blue Raid, big part of the community and the homecoming week each year, like we mentioned. But Coach, a little bit about here, what do we kind of know about them this year and what they're kind of trying to do?
Well, they're 2-3 right now, coming in 2-3 off of 2 losses, but their last 2 losses came down to essentially the last play. On
Right.
Friday night, they played St. Joseph's, who's still an undefeated football team, and they took them absolutely to the wire and lost 49-48 on really just a unfortunate series of events there at the end of the game. So they have a running back
Yeah, that's what
who's
I was about to ask you
yeah
about their
he's
running back.
he's really
Tell us tell us about him.
yeah, he's a shifty, elusive kid, and Friday night he was 50 something yards shy, I think, of breaking the Florida single game rushing record.
Right.
It was certainly Hilliard High School records for rushing yards and touchdowns. He went for 477 and 7 touchdowns.
That's big.
It's big.
That's
Yeah.
big. And now is that the same running back that was there last year?
He was there. I think they use him in a couple different roles, but he wears number 2, and he's kind of a shorter running back,
That's
but
a
he's elusive and
smaller,
shifty.
shifty guy, yeah.
Yeah, and he's improved quite a bit. He looks a little bit more explosive and strong. Um, and they get him the ball. Obviously, he carried it quite a few times Friday night
Yeah,
to be able to
you
generate
have to.
477, but
477 yards, yeah.
he had a lot of big explosive plays. And unfortunately for him, on a night like that, just an absolute not career night, but like a once in a lifetime night,
Right.
477 and 7 scores. Unfortunately, his last carry he fumbled,
Man.
and St. Joseph's recovered and then drove down the field with less than a minute left, ended up scoring, kicked the extra point, and then that's how they won.
Oh, wow.
So
Yeah,
so yeah, that's unfortunate for him because he certainly had just a unbelievable night of football, and then it ended. His last carry was a fumble, so he's going to be motivated. He's going to be ready to play, and coming off of a game like that, he's got the hot hand for sure. So they're going to give him the football. And we
yeah.
know what they're going to they're going to do that.
Yeah. Oh, for sure.
They'd be silly not to. So we're going to have to prove that we can tackle him in space. We have to prove that we can bottle him up and keep him behind the line of scrimmage, keep him in front of us, and not put too much focus on him that we get something thrown over our head or we're not honoring the Q run because they'll run the quarterback some too. They'll put him at quarterback and they'll run him some too, and
Makes
they'll
sense.
mix up
Yeah.
they'll mix up what they do. So he's a really good player, and I think that's a good. I think they're a good football team. They played Fernandina Beach opening week, and Fernandina's proved to be a pretty good football team. I
Right.
think they're 4-1 right now,
Yeah.
4-1 or 5-1, and they're
Which Hilliard could easily be as well.
right. And so if you look at that's the only team that dominated them. Outside of that, they've been really competitive, and especially these last two. They came down to the last play. So they're coming in at 2-3, but essentially really could just as easily be 4-1 coming into this game. So we've got to be ready to play. And Hilliard has always been a tough football team for us to beat. For years there, they had the upper hand and beat us um, consistently, and it started to swing a little bit. Had some really competitive football games.
Yeah.
Some
Year
that
before last was a big one.
right, some that we'll never forget. Um, playoff game over there. I think it was 2019. Then certainly that one at home that came down to the wire that we beat them, and I guess was that was
That
2 years
was
ago.
yeah, that
Yeah,
2
2
years
years
ago,
ago.
my 11th grade season there.
And then last year we went to Hilliard and were fortunate enough to win that game pretty handily. But it's always just Brantford and Hilliard has always been a competitive game. So as long as we can remember, and Brantford's played Hilliard for a long time. So
Yeah.
certainly not your typical homecoming opponent. We got to be ready to play and understand that they've got playmakers and a good football coach, and they're gonna be coached up and disciplined. And so we've got to play well.
Yeah, so big night and then memorable night for the running back as well on both sides of things you say. Who was that? Now tell us who was that record held by for the longest time? Because that's big.
For a long time, obviously, it's Derrick Henry.
Right.
And then it was the kid from Baker out in the Panhandle. He broke it just a couple years ago.
Right.
But for a long time, it was Derrick Henry out of Yulee.
Yeah, so that's big on his part trying to contain that. But we're going to be leaning a lot on quarterback Trent Land to get things done for us this week. I mean, having another explosive night, whether that's taking the ball to the air or running it on the ground like we seen him do. Wouldn't you agree?
Yes, certainly, and he loves to run the football. He's tough, and we know he can do it. Certainly, that's not if we can run the football without having to run the Q. Um, then that's ideal because he's so valuable to our football team,
Right.
right? So the other night, we were running it with Ollie consistently. Had PC out there playing some receiver, which we've kind of mixed some things around, and I really like that personnel grouping. So we ended up starting the game with TC and Reese at the receiver and Ollie at the running back. And then we rotate those guys in there, whether it's tight end or wing with Vernon, Cole Poindexter, and Trip Schultz. So I really, really like that personnel grouping. And I
Right.
think, and I would like to stay there. But to do that, everybody's got to be healthy. So as soon as Ollie got dinged up, and we brought TC to the two back, and then TC got dinged up for a couple plays. We didn't have many healthy two backs other than Carson Kapalia,
I was about to say who's
who's got a
technically
club on
not
his arm.
not healthy as well.
Right, because he's got a broken hand and it's clubbed up, in a
Right.
hard cast. So we essentially did not have a two back that was completely healthy after, I guess, about drive three.
Yeah.
So that necessitated us to run the quarterback a little bit, and we tried to do it safely and when we needed to, and tell him, get behind your pads and don't go crazy. And I thought he did a really good job of that. Got the tough yardage when we needed it. We still try to take the top off to generate some explosives, so we didn't have to do that. And there's some throws he'd like to get back, and that was good for us to get in the film room this week and say, look, you're falling backwards just a little bit on this stance. Step up in the pocket, turn your hips through. Threw a deep ball to Reese that Reese caught, but if he puts it a yard or two out in front on the post, then he probably catches runs and scores on the throw.
Right. Just a
Um,
little underthrown.
Right, right, and he underthrew Reese on the sideline once, underthrew TC on a go ball once, and so those are little things that he knows he's got the arm strength to do it. It's just technique things, and so even in a win, when he had a big football game, we found little things that we know we can tweak and make him more efficient.
Yeah, it's something always to improve on when you're trying to utilize your quarterback that big. But That's big. I mean, because Hilliard coming off of 2 losses in a row are definitely trying not to go, what, 2-4 on the season. They're gonna try and level it out. They're going 3-3. So that's gonna be big, but we'll see you right back here live here in after this break on rivercountrysports.com. Joining us today, we've got Joseph Robinson, Braden Browning, and Anthony Leach. Thank you all for joining us here today. Hey, so as we get going here in the season, what's kind of some things that y'all are looking forward to and that y'all have seen progress throughout the off season with summer workouts and then leading up to fall camp? How's that look for you?
Well, after spring through summer workouts, we've had a bunch of people come over, and through summer workouts, everybody's been doing good in the weight room. Everybody's been hitting the gym hard. We've been doing good.
For sure.
During the workouts, I seen all our group like bonding and stuff during each time group. I went to 6 a.m., 8 a.m., and 6 p.m. before, and like the atmosphere between them is like makes you want to like grow your relationship with everybody.
For sure. So you've said you've gone to the 6 a.m., 8 a.m., and 6 p.m. workouts. So I know here at
No, not
Brantford.
not not all of them, but
Oh,
like
not all of them. Yeah, I got you. I was gonna say, man, that's true dedication to it. You ought to be tired by the time you get home. So Joe, what's that kind of look like for you? I know you've been. This is what your second year playing
This is
here.
my second year.
Second year playing here at Brantford. How's it kind of been like? I know your first season starting off, which I was actually here on the team with you as
Yeah,
well. What's it kind of look like? Because you were in weightlifting as well, correct?
I was.
So you did weightlifting outside of football, but that really you feel like that kind of prepared you a little more for the season as well?
Football helped me keep in shape, and I had to be in the weight room with Coach Clark for it, and that helped me get stronger. So when weightlifting season came around, I wasn't too, sore doing new lifts,
Right.
and I progressed quicker, being as I had two weightlifting classes that year and weightlifting after school.
For sure, for sure.
So
So you think that you're kind of using football a little bit more as a vessel for weightlifting, you would say?
uh, well, I use football as a drive to get better at weightlifting, so I can take all that strength at weightlifting and put it on the field.
Right. So it kind of just goes full circle moment for you
Full
there.
circle.
Yeah, for sure. Using both of them to grow for each of the other sports as well.
Exactly.
Right, I got you. So Anthony, is this your first year playing here for the Bucks? So first year playing, have you played football previously before, or is this your first year as well?
first year,
So this your first year starting off, and you're going into your what grade here in school?
10th.
So it'll be your 10th grade season, first varsity season with us as well. And so, I mean, starting off, what are kind of some things that you feel like have been able to help you out in order to produce and continue to grow on the field?
Um, I'd say positivity with teammates and stuff. Working out in the weight room during ninth grade year with Joe, so
Right.
could grow my strength. And,
So just the being able to work with some players off the field has translating to just being able to connect and mesh better and work a whole lot better while on the field.
yeah,
Right. So Braden, you are going into the
11th grade.
11th grade. Okay, so you were on varsity last year with us.
Yes.
And so what has kind of been the transition from going from 10th to 11th grade that has really helped you grow a little bit? What's that kind of look like?
Just getting along with everybody and everybody coming and helping each other, and it's all in the weight room getting along.
So you think a lot of what is produced on the field starts here in the weight room?
Yeah.
Right, for sure. Yeah, I get that. So really, I mean, so you are just a football player, or
Yeah.
so just a football player, which I've actually seen you up at the Ford dealership, which is where I'm working currently.
Yep.
Well, you're up there as well. I mean, what are you doing up there?
I'm back there in the collision center, but that's where my stepdad, he's the manager back there at the collision center, but he owns another business that he runs, like calibrating stuff like that in cars, and I work that business.
So you've been able to help him out. So is that kind of where you see yourself going, kind of after high school, instead of pursuing football on the collegiate level, or what's
Yep.
that kind of look like
Just
for you?
going, keeping strong with that, and just trying to stay in the workforce.
Yeah, for sure, working with him. So if you are not wanting to you're not wanting to play football at the next level, what's really keeping that drive inside of you in order to keep getting better?
Just the brotherhood here, fighting for each other. Everybody just trying to get better, so that the whole team is good and working for each other.
Right. So players that are wanting to play in college are not only working for the team, but they're also working for themselves. So as you're continuing to grow with your football journey, your mindset kind of is on things of doing the best you can for your team.
Yeah.
Right, helping out those players that are wanting to go play at the next level. What's that kind of look like for you, Anthony? I know first year playing, it's probably different from anything that you've ever done.
Yeah.
Which I'm sure. So really being able to do that, what's that kind of look like for you?
Um, I'm really not that sure. It like has brought me like a better mindset and stuff,
Right.
and helped me change how I think things.
Yeah.
So
Yeah, it puts a little bit more of a drive inside of you.
yeah,
You could say a little bit more of more being required to do things at such a high and intricate level. I mean, really puts a determination inside of you. So I mean, what are some things that you like to do outside of football when you because you spend a lot of your time here. I'm
mhm.
assuming you spend a lot of your time here. What are some things that you enjoy participating in outside of that?
So I do like to hang out with my family,
Okay.
watch my baby sisters and stuff. Hang out with my friends and probably play some video games with my friends too sometimes. So
Right. So you think that starting off playing football has helped you grow to become not only which would be a better football player, but also a better person overall.
yeah,
Do you really think that which not being in any other program, you think that the Brantford program has also helped you out in that sense?
um, I'd say like our community has like helped me out before too.
Yeah,
So like just like getting to participate in something that like means a lot to the community is like big thing on me.
for
So
sure.
um, it's exciting and like nervously too.
Yeah,
Yeah,
I got you. Yeah, for sure that it can be tough playing and spending all your time doing that, but then still trying to juggle your life outside of football. So Joe, what's kind of things been looking like for you outside of playing ball?
Uh, work and work. That's mainly what my summer's been about. When I wasn't here, I was somewhere working, and when I wasn't working, I was either here at the house.
Right.
But something that looking like is good for me is getting into welding.
Okay.
I've been doing a bit of that for people this summer. Yeah,
So you've been
it's
been doing some welding. So I'm sure you've seen some similarities between what you've had to do welding and some things that you've had to do on the football field.
yes.
Because I haven't really gotten into welding myself, but I've heard that it is tough and it requires a lot of steadiness and precision. I mean, is that some things that kind of translate between the two?
You have to be precise, and you have to be not too slow and not too fast, and you have to stay steady. That's how you want to be on the field. You want to be as fast as you can without being all over the place.
For
You want
sure.
to be precise when you hit somebody or when you go around somebody or catch a football, like what he would have to do.
Right. So when you mentioned catching the football, are you on the offensive side of the ball right now, or are you working defense or what?
um, defense,
So you're working mainly defense. What position you playing right now?
the corner.
Okay, so you're playing corner. So that is a lot of stuff. We've spoken with several different corners about like kind of things that they have to do to prepare and make themselves better. What does that kind of look like for you? Like what kind of things do you have to do to become the best you can at your position?
Um, so right now I've been shadowing people and like watching and learning more and how to do it properly and stuff. And I'd say like the biggest thing right now I need to work on is like the footwork and then probably like hitting people.
Right.
'Cause, I don't really like when we have those practice over in spring. I didn't really hit people because they're family, but like if it's like the different like team stuff, like an actual game, I probably would.
stuff.
Well, a lot of that I think translate to what you do on the field during practice is kind of reflects to what you do in the game. A big motto that's been used: practice makes perfect.
Yeah.
I mean, so if you're looking to do that in the game, that is something that needs to be done in practice as well. I kind of think
Yeah.
that would go good. But well, Joe, Braden, Anthony, we do appreciate y'all joining us here today for the player spotlight. Thank you for joining us on rivercountrysports.com. And we're back here live on rivercountrysports.com. Tonight's coaches show is here with Coach Tim Clark tonight. So we kind of went over the offense and defense, both sides of the ball there against Friday night's game against Lake Weir. I mean, dominant win there, 38-6. And then this upcoming week, big week, homecoming here for Brantford. So a lot of festivities going on. Trying to block that out and stay focused on the game Friday night against Hilliard, which you can actually join in and watch right here live on rivercountrysports.com. But make sure to go in and like and subscribe to the channel. That way you can keep up with all the live Brantford action. So tonight's coaches show, I mean, we wanted to kind of go over a little bit. I mean, you've got guys that are more, you'd say, behind the scenes, that are not really recognized as much in your other coaches, but your other coaches that play a big part. I mean, kind of break them down to us a little bit and kind of the role that they play for the team.
Yeah, absolutely. I've got great help at Brantford, and I've got guys that have been with me, since day one that I got the head job, and then I've also got guys that have come in and started helping me even this year. So kind of go through it either on campus there with me. I have Coach Wiles, and he's coached my offensive line for me, and does a phenomenal job. He's obviously just a he's forgotten more football than I know,
Right.
and he obviously coached me when I was at Brantford. So have a very close relationship with him and love him coaching our offensive line. Now, right now, he's dealing with some health issues with his wife, so unfortunately, he's not with us currently. He's still staying involved, providing input, putting some advice in, right, some thoughts here and there, watching film and giving us that input for sure. But Travis Corbin, who has helped us now for a couple years and spent some time kind of shadowing Coach Wiles while he was coaching the offensive line. He stepped in, has done a really good job for us. So he's leaned on Coach Wiles to help him with, you know, preparing a practice plan. And man, he's just taken that and kind of run with it, and has
Yeah.
been very dependable and has done a really good job. Obviously, I mean we played extremely well the other night, dominated the line of scrimmage, didn't give up a sack. And then still, Monday morning, Travis had a notebook paper sheet of notes of how we need to get better. So
Right.
he's really taking on that role of attention to detail, which that's how Coach Wiles operates, and he's kind of fed off of that. And so really appreciative of Travis and what he's done, in a pinch, really telling him 7 or 8 days before we're starting practice, in the end of the summer, by the way, you're running the offensive line now till
Yeah.
Coach Wiles gets back. So
Right.
Coach Wiles, pray for him, pray for his wife, that her recovery goes well, and that he's able to return to us pretty quickly. But in the interim, Travis has done a phenomenal job.
Sure.
Staying on the front defensively, Jerry Coker's a guy that when he came in right when I got the head job, he volunteered to help and has been there, since day one, essentially coaching the defensive line. And he's an old school, hard nosed guy, and just gets them tough and gets them ready to live life in the trenches. Basically, I mean that's
Right.
what we ask, and he does everything we ask him to do, and wears a lot of hats for us. and brings physicality to that group that we need. That's a gritty, tough group. We know that when they go with him over there, I don't have to wonder what they're doing. They're getting after it. And they're playing football and they're getting tougher.
Yeah.
Jamie Cannon's another guy that has helped for a number of years with me. Coached through JV and then moved up and started helping me as well, and just provides a lot of input for me to the skill positions, particularly in the passing game, offensively. He's got a good eye, good knack. Man, I can't tell you how many times during a football game I've been thinking along some other line of direction in terms of a play call, and Jamie just gets one of these spidey senses and says, hey, you ought to throw whatever slant wheel right here, and we hit it.
Yeah.
And so he's done that several times where, I mean, shoot, toss pass against Wee Hitchcock last year on the road. That was his call. Now he's had quite a few of those where in big moments he's just gotten an inkling and has given it to me and
Yeah.
it's worked.
Yeah.
So I lean on him quite a bit. So those are guys that have been tenured with me for quite a bit now. Now coming in, Ronnie Frazier, his boy plays on the team, moved here from Fort White, and he's come in and started coaching the running backs and helping a little bit with the outside linebackers, but primarily taking those two backs
Right.
and working with them during offensive indy.
Which
Um,
they've been a big help overall throughout the program as well too, right?
right, yeah, absolutely. They're involved with quarterback club, and and he's a go getter. He's dependable. So really like what he's bringing to us energy wise, and those two backs have been productive. Um, and then Jesse Derringer. So when Coach Dorsett left and took the job in Appling in Georgia, he was the defense coordinator, but he also took the inside linebacker group. And I coached the DBs, and he coached the inside linebackers. So there was a void that needed to be filled there. And Jesse coaches JV and does a really good job down there. But Jesse's around my age and played inside linebacker, so I knew what type of player he was, knew that he played that position, and knows how to coach it, obviously. So I had him come up, and he was willing to do it, and he's taken that group and run with it too.
Oh
Kind
yeah.
of off of what Coach Dorsett taught in terms of the drills that he ran with fit, and the run scheme stuff that in terms of stopping the run that he taught, Jesse's just rolled with that and he's done a really good job. So obviously I knew he was going to be there all the time for Wyatt, and hopefully he'll stick around because he's got
Yeah.
another one coming
Right.
through with Hayden. So he's done what I think a phenomenal job, and is another one of those guys kind of like Jamie on the offensive side of the ball. Jesse's got a good eye for stuff too. So now getting him on the sidelines on Friday nights and having a headset on his head, he's another one that we communicate a lot. Offensively, I bounce a lot of things off of Jamie, and defensively now I bounce a lot of things off of Jesse. So that's been really good. That's been really good. I think he's been a phenomenal addition. And then right there at the start of camp, we brought in Walker Brado, young guy, just graduated. He moved back here with his family from
Yeah.
Missouri, but he's kind of a Branford kid, born and raised before he went up there, and played linebacker. Was a really good player up there, and is back here just working in the area, and said, man, I really like to get you involved with the program. And so he's one that's come in and will just do anything we ask. So he kind of floats and helps Coach Frazier with the running backs a little bit, helps Coach Derringer with the linebackers because he played that position, and then just offers another set of eyes and a voice of a player that has just recently hung the helmet up that I think the
Yeah.
kids can relate to, and has done a really good job. So yeah, I've got phenomenal help, and then those JV guys too. All of those guys that coach down there, they provide input and they help out on Friday nights, whether it's being a get back coach or helping with the huddle equipment or just doing anything that we need.
For sure.
All those guys are all hands on deck. Even if they're JV guys on Thursday nights, on Friday nights, they're usually on the sideline with me too, providing some help in any way
Right.
that we need. So I'm definitely blessed, man. I've got a lot of good help there.
Yeah, that's big. Having the help and guys that are willing to spend their time and invest in your players to continue to grow. I mean, we've seen a lot of that extra time that they've put in pay off because all those guys, I believe, are still working full-time jobs as well outside. So I mean that commitment to spending as much time as possible with the guys, you think that's still pretty tough on them, but even though they love it, it can be kind of challenging sometimes balancing with work and then still trying to spend as much time with the guys as possible.
Yeah, I'm sure. I mean, I don't know,
Yeah.
because I have to be there, right? I get
Right.
paid to be there, but these guys don't take a dime, and they do everything, and they'll do laundry if I need help with that.
Yeah.
They'll go pick up biscuits for the guys if I need help with that. But they also do a really good job coaching X and O's of football. So that's
Yeah.
what I appreciate about that group. So yeah, definitely got it way better than most.
Yeah, but another big part of your program that really is it kind of keeps it running is your athletic training staff. I mean, your wife, Cece, is the one who kind of that heads that up. I mean, she's a big help all over the place, whether it's wrapping, taping guys or helping them with therapy wherever they need it, or helping on the field as well. I mean, just being there for injured players or water or whatever it is. But I mean, what pretty cool what they do is have some girls that are in school just helping out on the field and wherever they're needed. So it's cool seeing other people other than just the football team from the school being involved in the program and wanting to help any way that's possible.
Absolutely.
But your guys that are on, like you mentioned, some of your JV coaches as well. I mean, they've been off to a pretty hot start, wouldn't you say?
Yeah, absolutely. That JV group is clicking right now. They had a setback in Fort White against a really good big JV team in Fort White, but they have played phenomenal the entirety of this season. Beat Mayo, beat Bell, beat Trenton, beat Dixie County, and now they've got one more against Mayo on Thursday. And actually, we're getting the word out on this, but we're adding a JV game as well.
Oh wow.
They're gonna play next week on Tuesday.
Well, you heard it first right
Yeah,
here
that's
live
right.
on
Yeah, so
rivercountrysports.com.
Hilliard is going to come to us, and we're going to add one JV game next week and play on Tuesday. So we just got confirmation on all that. We're getting that information out, but that's official and it's going to happen. So next Tuesday at 7 p.m. at Brantford in our stadium, we're going to play Hilliard for JV as the final game.
That's big. That's nice. So a lot of potential. Definitely. I've went to some of the JV games and watched them there as well. A lot of potential that you're I'm sure looking forward to coming up. I mean, you see your coach Aaron's son leading the team. They're playing quarterback. Been a big part in what they've been able to do. But I mean, it's cool because not having a middle school team there at Brantford is I mean, you're 6th through ninth grade. I mean, having to play some bigger guys is just, I think, preparing your JV team for what they will see even more and making them capable for what they can do once they get on varsity when they get a little bit older. But that's definitely big for sure. Your JV team coming up. But we're going to take another short break, but we'll be right back here live on rivercountrysports.com.
What's up, guys? Welcome to Van Carpet One. For 78 years, we've been your local family-owned and operated floor covering store, and we can't wait to serve you. Let's go check out some of the stuff we've got and say hey to the guys.
Hey guys, this is Michael Van here at Van Carpet One. Wanted to show you our huge display of carpet. Got about 1,000 rolls for you that we can order. We also keep about 100 in stock that are on clearance, so please come down and give us a visit. We appreciate it.
Come in and see the largest tile collection in North Florida. Van Carpet One has every tile you could possibly imagine. If you can't find it here, they don't make it. Guys, take a look at this. This is just some of our options in waterproof vinyl plank where we have the largest selection anywhere around here, including over 70 pallets in stock, ready to go right now. Come in and see our fantastic selection of elegant hardwood too, followed up by fantastic service that you expect from a company like Van Carpet One.
Come on in and see us.
We can't wait to serve you. And that's a boom shakalaka.
And we're back here live on rivercountrysports.com. Thanks again for joining us here tonight, Coach Clark. It's the 23rd September. Hey, we're getting things done, moving forward halfway through the season. We went over kind of earlier on in the show about last Friday night's game. Dominant win there, 38-6 over Lake Weir. And then this Friday night's game, what we're looking forward to seeing, homecoming all week, all the festivities that's going on right there in Brantford. So join us right here live on Friday night for homecoming game. I mean, we're still gonna stream, I believe, still gonna stream the homecoming festivities. So if you're not able to make it to the stadium Friday night, then join us here on River Country Sports. But we wanted to thank you again. I mean, you're coming over every Tuesday night and kind of going over last week's game, and then this what we're looking for out of this Friday night's game, keeping everybody informed on that as well. So. But we also wanted to thank our streaming producer Rivers Martinez, always here to help us out when we need him to. But so we'll be right back here live 7:30 or 7:15 that is on Friday night for the homecoming game against Hilliard in Brantford there. But so we'll see you right here next time on rivercountrysports.com.